Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cow's channel for A Cow's Opinion, where I go over the latest and greatest, and right now, sad, continuing fallout from Epic's continual stupidity. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down there what you think, because right now, we are continuing to look at new information that's been coming out. As you know, if you paid attention to the channel yesterday, Epic had to sell off, well, technically sell off. Epic fired 16% of their employees across all the groups. That is almost 900 people. And said that it was because of unsustainability and profitability issues. So we're going to take a look at that. And we're also going to look at how it may have accidentally killed Fall Guys. So let's take a quick look. So, Medtronic was a company that was bought by Epic in 2021. And you know them because during the pandemic, one of the things people loved to play was Fall Guys. Fall Guys is a cool little battle royale style game, but instead of running around with guns, you take part in all these multiplayer challenges, like you're trying to run an obstacle course, or you're playing tag, or you're trying to get the most balls or eggs or whatever in your corner, or you're on a giant soccer field and you're trying to get the most goals, that kind of stuff. And it's a pretty well-loved game. Of course, with the pandemic now winding down and becoming more endemic, it's not being played as much, but it is still pretty fun and popular. And unfortunately, Mediatonic, I called it Medtronic, excuse me. Mediatonic had 300 developers, but has been hit very hard by the layoffs. It looks like that's one of the areas that they decided to get a lot of this headcount from. So now, initially, people were saying that all of Mediatonic was gone. I don't know why I can't pronounce these guys. I feel so bad for them. But Epic has denied this. This is false. Mediatonic's work on Fall Guys continues to be a company priority. Well, I don't think the workers feel that way because this is their logo right now. Apparently somebody rearranged and it's kind of disturbing that you can actually spell that out with the same letters. That's depressing. Is that Mediatonic? Yeah, no. That's depressing that you can spell that off out with the same letters. Oh, I feel bad for them, guys. Now, CEO Tim Sweeney has been claiming that they needed this to financially stabilize the business. Like I went over yesterday, for a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn, investing in the next evolution of Epic and growing Fortnite as a metaverse-inspired ecosystem for creators. The fact that you're trying to make it a metaverse is your first mistake right there. Nobody wants a metaverse. The only people who want a metaverse are the people trying to build it because they think they're going to make a ton of money off of it. But players in public, we don't want this. No. I had been long optimistic that we could power through this transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that this was unrealistic. Now, like we went over yesterday, Fortnite makes billions, and their Unreal Engine also made over $350 million of revenue last year. So, they made at least $5.5 billion, and they were spending way more than that, and I have no idea how. While Fortnite is starting to grow again, the growth is primarily driven by creator content with significant revenue sharing, and this is a lower margin business than when we had Fortnite Battle Royale took off and began funding our expansion. Success with the creator ecosystem is a great achievement, but it means a major structural change to our economics. So basically, they're saying, he's trying to argue, we're making billions on Fortnite in revenue, but you'd be surprised how little of that we keep because we have to pay the creators. Epic folks around the world have been making ongoing efforts to reduce costs, including moving to net zero hiring and cutting operational spend on things like marketing and events, but we still ended up fall short of financial sustainability. We concluded that layoffs are the only way, and that doing them now and on this scale will stabilize our finances. Let's get to that in a second, because also, Fortnite brought back the share the wealth emote the same day they killed. God, you're a freaking Bond villain. What are you doing? The same day as mass layoffs, they did the share a wealth. So, September 28th, yesterday, they fired 900 people. In perhaps the worst timed microtransaction ever, Share the Wealth went back up for sale on their Battle Royale. Now, it did not take long for the people who follow Fortnite and report on it to find that out, because Guile_GIG tweeted, Epic has brought back the Share the Wealth emote just after firing 900 of their employees. Epic Games is under fire for selling the Share the Wealth emote in today's item shop rotation just hours after 830 employees were laid off, says Fortnite BR Instagram. Yeah, that's really stupid, and I don't understand how you didn't check this. So here's a shot from, I'm pronouncing you Guile, I hope that's how I pronounce it, but here's a shot of his Twitter where he shows it up for sale. Now, the emo got added earlier this year, Chapter 4, Season 3, but it was only up for a brief time before being removed. And it got removed with the entire daily rotation. They nuked it as fast and hard as they could to make sure it went. So a company spokesman said, the emote was taken down when we realized the mistake roughly 1 hour after. It took you an hour? Oh, God. Epic Games acknowledged the missing feature on Twitter and said that it will come back the next item shop refresh. So if you're wanting to know, this is what it looks like. Just throwing Monopoly money around. Yeah, this is it. Do you think this is a good look after you fired 900 people? Because no, it's pretty bad. So Kotaku is a little more political, and also not necessarily political. I would say they're more opinionated than CNBC and the video games channel that I just used for the other story. So I kind of like to look at them, because here he's quoting that we've been spending way more money than we earn. And in the article announced, I'm going to give credit to this guy because I like this guy. Ethan Gatch, yeah. Read some of his articles before, actually like his opinions a lot of the time. It was a peculiar invocation of the Royal We, considering the executive then proceeded to list acquisitions, expansions, and other business initiatives like growing Fortnite as a metaverse-spiraled ecosystem for creators that most of the laid-off people probably had no say in. Yeah, no, this whole metaverse thing, I'm not saying there might not be metaverse stuff that is successful in the future, but right now it's a giant waste of money. Nobody's asking for it. You have no features that anybody wants. Facebook alone has sunk tens of billions of dollars, has nothing to show for it but a conference call between the head of Twitter and the reporter. And the reporter was like, it was like we were in the same room. You know what else you can do with that? A cell phone, a FaceTime call, a Zoom call. Ridiculous. And before you say, well, that's talking through a computer, Cal, that doesn't count. For the love of God, you're going to have to sit there with a VR headset. You're not going to suddenly forget that you're doing that. So, as the article continues to say, we don't know how much salary the CEO and other people at Epic draw because they're a privately owned company. Only publicly owned companies have to say what their executive management teams got in the previous year. Now, Sweeney has also pushed back the concept of a wealth tax because it would force him to sell equity in their companies anytime they become more valuable. So, the company is a black box, but we do know that Fortnite has made $9 billion in its first 2 years, and that Epic continues to rake in billions of dollars a year in revenue from player purchases. This tax thing right here is something that is really difficult, because if you force the people who own companies to sell the companies, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm sure people smarter than me can argue. Because, yeah, if you're worth $10 billion, you should be paying taxes. But if most of your wealth is in a company and you shouldn't have to sell the thing that you own to pay your taxes, because then that punishes you for making the thing. So the news around Epic's layoffs renewed questions about how companies handle cost cutting and who actually has to pay that bill. Now, a lot of people have been, I've seen this on Twitter too, people have been re-quoting that late Nintendo president Satoru Iwata had a symbolic pay cut when his company's products underperformed, such as the 3DS and the Wii U. And other gaming CEOs underwent similar compensation cuts, including Ubisoft, EA, and Activision. But relative to the millions earned in company stock, here's the thing. You have to look at the whole picture. CEO types get most of their compensation in stock. It doesn't matter if you cut their $900,000 salary in half. That's cool, but then you get $25 million in stock shares, so you don't really care. So this is here's a shot that David Amador had of Nintendo's article back in 2014. Let's never forget how the great Iwata handled the poor reception of Wii U. Not with layoffs, but by cutting his own wage. Yeah. No, that's damn fine leadership right there, guys. And there's a reason why Nintendo is back on top now with things like the Switch. And the Mario movie being one of the biggest movies of this year. Because they understand, well, we'll get to it in a second, but there's a big reason why short-term layoffs to make short-term finances look good is a bad idea. The reality of being laid off by Epic while being treated for skin cancer has hit me and woken me from a not sound sleep, and I don't think there are words for how furious I am at the company, the leadership, their greed, all of it, a former Epic employee tweeted overnight. Meanwhile, Epic is still burning money on things like Epic Game Store, its Steam competitor, showering players with free games. The latest freebie is the action RPG Solstice, which is normally listed at $40. Saying goodbye to people who have helped build Epic is a terrible experience for all, Sweeney wrote in his email. The consolation is that we've adequately funded to support I thought you just said you were not adequately funded. But now we can support laid-off employees. We're offering a severance package that includes 6 months base pay, and in the US, Canada, and Brazil, 6 months of Epic paid healthcare. Now, I talked about the severance package, and yeah, that's good. Hopefully, most, if not all of them, will find work in that 6 months, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But here's the thing. The Kotaku article it is very opinionated, but those opinions are not necessarily wrong. So, Mediatonic being gutted with a successful game sucks. I mean, it's dumb. They're probably getting at least 100 of the employees from here. When you're being hit very hard, I would say you're approaching at least half gone. But obviously, they're not a publicly traded company. They're not going to tell us. They're not going to advertise how many people they're putting on the street, guys. But here's the thing. The article reminds us very many important things. That Fortnite made $9 billion in its first 2 years. It's still making billions of dollars a year. That they're still trying to... Long-term, Epic Game Store might make a lot of money. But right now, it's a really bad look that you continue to do things like offer the creators 100% revenue share for the first year. Or that you keep giving away massive games for free. Because it's not making people come to Epic before Steam. It's just making people come to Steam, get their free stuff, and then I'll still use Epic. Whatever. I don't care. The thing that, now that I've slept on it... Can I loop this? Because this is the background, baby. The thing about this that I think is most important is that this is a pretty dumb idea. Because you're trying to get a metaverse style thing going. It's probably not going to work. I don't know. They've sold their music streaming thing to a music streaming platform, and they're spinning off an advertising marketing group to try to get to profitability. I'd be very interested to know where the billions of dollars went, as we all would. We're never going to know. Unless somebody from the CEO or the C-suites tells us, we're not going to know. Here's the thing, guys. Firing 300 people. I'm sorry, not 300 people. That's the mediatonic is 300 people. They fired 830 people, approximately 16% of their workforce. Guys, that's a really dumb move long term. Short term, yeah, you're paying for 830 people less. Now, we don't know. They have been saying it's not all developers, which means, the marketing that is not being spun off is probably being downsized. Public outreach and event spending, they've said they've been downsizing that, so they probably don't need as many employees in that. There's probably a lot of places that they're getting them, but long term, you need people at Mediatonic to make more Fall Guys. Now you don't have them. You need people to market these games that you're trying to get out there so people will come to the Epic Game Store. Now you don't have that. You need people running tournaments and events and outreach to game creators and YouTubers and cons and all sorts of things. Now you don't have that. Short term, yeah, you're saving some pennies. Long term, you're going to have to hire these jobs in 3 to 5 years if things go well. And you're going to have a hard time doing that when you sat there and kept the money for yourself. It's a short-term fix that does not actually stop. It doesn't solve the main problem, which is, well, we're not making enough money. You know what would help with that? If you use some of those developers you fired to make more games, and then you use that marketing team you got let go to market the game, and then people bought the game and gave you money. I mean, you can't. This is not. And it's possible that some of it is overstaffing because of the pandemic, but this is just stupid. And I really do feel bad for the 830 employees worldwide, because we know that they fired people from that UK studio, and they're talking about people who get their health care in the US, Canada, and Brazil. So that's that's 3 continents. This is worldwide. Guys, my opinion is that this is just a CEO who got tons of extra money during the pandemic, didn't plan for a rainy day. Everybody thought it's going to give me this much money. I'm so smart. I'm a smarty every day. That's me. I'm a smarty. That's his internal monologue right there. And then he just didn't see the downturn. Didn't plan for it. Didn't save up anything for it. Thought that the metaverse was going to be big. It's like, I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know how much money Epic may have bet on NFTs. But that market has collapsed, and good riddance, because that was the stupidest thing I've ever seen, along with the metaverse. And yeah, no, now he's in a panic, and he's like, I got to save money. I'm not cutting my salary or benefits, so somebody else is going to have to be fired. And we'll just have to see long term. And I'm talking after about 6 months. So next year, we'll have to see, is Epic's Game Store have worse customer service? Does Fall Guys have worse customer service and worse DLC and seasons released? Does Epic have less games? Do the people who use Unreal Engine, or they have starting to report, it's really hard when I'm having trouble to get a tech on the line to help me. I can't get these guys. We'll see, but usually this is not a good long-term solution, because the best way is to grow your revenue, and apparently Epic is not doing that, and they haven't been able to do that, so now they're just cutting people. Guys, let me know down in the comments again, as Epic continues to fail, what you think. And you know what else you can do, because it's the weekend finally, we're off work, you can play more games! Games are awesome, and you deserve the awesome. I'm going to end with the cute little koala and the fox hugging each other. I'm assuming that's a fox, because it's happier than the people who've lost their jobs. I'll see you next time.